What's up, Malex family? So today's video is going to be interesting, to say the least. Mostly Alex is going to be doing the talking because she's going to be discussing her birth process.
You have your perspective too, so it's going to be both of our perspectives on the birth.
So before we even jump into this video, if you are new to this channel and this is your first time seeing us, hit that subscribe button, join the family. If you do like this video, leave us a like, and in the comments down below, let us know about your birth experience, or if you're worried about birth, because we're going to unpack a lot.
Yes, or if you're a dad too, you know, like you.
Yes.
Your perspective.
Without further ado, take it away, baby.
So my due date was on Wednesday, May 12th, okay? And we didn't actually think she would be coming on her due date. So, you know, it was Tuesday, May 11th. Well, you wanted her to be born on the 12th. So
it wasn't a we thing.
Okay. But I didn't think she would actually be coming that fast. Tuesday, May 11th, right? Manny and I go out for the day. It's just a normal day. I feel perfectly fine. I'm maybe having one or two very, very mild contractions. So it's like, you know, we went to the grocery store. We're going to pick up some dinner. We're going to make dinner that night. We're going to have tacos. So 6 o'clock hits. Boom. Contractions just punched me in the face.
They punch you in the uterus.
Punch me in the uterus. Actually, no, they punched me in the back. Because I had back labor, which is a thing. Which is like not when you feel it in your stomach, but you feel it in your back. And I already have back problems. So, okay, so they came in hot. So Manny had like an app on his phone where he was tracking the contractions. So he starts tracking them. And then I think it's like 7 o'clock now. They're getting worse. They're getting intense. Like they were bad. And the app is like, get ready to go to the hospital. And I was like, no.
Yeah, I told her, get ready, eat, whatever. She's like, nah, come on. Nah, yes, see what happens.
Yeah. So then, maybe like 5 minutes later, the app's like, go to the hospital. And I was like, no, that can't be right, no. Because it happened so fast.
I told you it could happen fast.
It happened like literally at 6 p.m. on the 11th, and it started. By 7:30, Manny's like rushing. He's like trying to make me some food. He's showering. He's trying to get me into the shower really quick. By 8 o'clock, we got to the hospital. And I was like, wow, I didn't expect it to happen that fast. So we get there. They get me in the wheelchair at the door, and they just wheel me straight up to labor and delivery. And Manny was downstairs, like, signing in. So I'm like trying to answer this woman's questions, and I'm literally in so much pain. Just like ripping through my back. I don't know why. It was so painful in my freaking back. So we're like waiting, and I'm like, what if they send me home? What if this is like fake? What if it's all in my head right now? Then I ended up getting sick, which I completely forgot about. So I'm thinking that they're gonna send me home, and they're like, they hooked me up to the monitor. They're monitoring my contractions. It goes like 30 minutes go by, and they're like, okay, we're gonna admit you. And that's when like my panic set in. And I was like, oh my God, this is really happening. Like, I'm actually in real labor right now.
Yes. I mean, when the app told you to go to the hospital.
But I thought it was in my house. Like, maybe I'm making it up. Maybe I'm exaggerating
you're
it.
Not.
Like, maybe it
you're
was...
Not. If you guys saw the labor video, Alex hasn't seen it yet. If you saw the video, you could tell you're in, like, actual labor. Like, there's no question about you being in labor.
Thought maybe I was being dramatic on it. I was like, maybe this is not happening. So they admit me, and then basically I was just hooked up to the monitor for a long time. It was, so my contractions started at 6, we got to the hospital at 8, they admitted me, and it was like 9, and then 11 p.m. I got my epidural. But what happened was, so I'm in excruciating pain now in my back, specifically in my low back. Nowhere else. It just felt like something was ripping the muscles apart in my back. On top, like, I think a big factor of that was me having a bad back and already being in pain to begin with, and then this on top of it made it like much more severe, because it was not a pain that I ever, like, it was, I literally thought I had another kidney stone. That's how bad it was. Get an epidural, oh my God, because after that I was fine. So it was all night long, and we're kind of just like in and out of sleep. Nothing.
What are you talking? You were in and out of sleep. I was up most of the night.
Yeah, I thought you were. I looked over twice and you had your eyes closed, but maybe that was just because you were just sitting there with nothing to do.
Literally, like I was just chilling.
Yeah.
I only slept like 30 minutes.
I didn't sleep much either, but it was like the epidural was like kind of making me.
No. Don't hit when you didn't sleep that much. You think you didn't sleep that much. You were out. You were out for like a solid 3 or 4 hours. Because nurses were coming in and they were asking me like, oh, how is she? I'm like, she's alive. That's all I got.
Oh, I forgot to mention that when I got to the hospital, I was 3 centimeters dilated, which is also a big part of why I thought they were going to send me home, because I was only 3 centimeters. So when I got there at 8, I was 3 centimeters. At 11 o'clock, I got checked again a little after the epidural, and I was at 7. So in, 3 hours? Went from 3 to 7, and then it took almost 10 hours to go from 7 to 10.
What happened that they were supposed to do that they didn't was, from what I heard, when you get your epidural, and even the nurse said it then, the reason why it took so long is because they're supposed to move you. Because the epidural slows down the process. And they're supposed to actually physically move you. But they didn't want to move Alex because she was having such severe back pain.
Oh, did they say that? Because they didn't know
that was the reason why they weren't moving you.
Oh, also, we were like waiting for the epidural for a long time because the anesthesiologist was in a C-section. So I'm like waiting and waiting and waiting, like where the hell is this anesthesiologist? Like in so much pain. And I was getting like worried because if you go past a certain point, you can't get the epidural. And I was like right at the cusp of like getting it and not getting it. Mm-hmm. And I basically got it at the last minute because I would have been livid. Could you imagine if I had to do that without the epidural? I don't know what would have happened.
I don't know. How I would have had a panic attack.
Yeah, I don't know how I would have gotten through that. So anyways, now it's the next morning. It's like, I don't know, 8 a.m. I'm like close to 10, but my water never broke. So now we're waiting for my doctor to come so that he can break my water. And he's not coming. And we're like, everyone's like, where is he? Where is he? I'm not going to say where he was. But
alright, you're not going to expose him. Alright, if that's what you want to do.
You want to expose him?
I'll expose him. Alright, so we overheard the nurse talking, and they found the doctor, and his shift didn't start till 9. And he was downstairs in the garage eating and drinking his coffee.
Which was like 8:30.
Yeah, it was like 8:30. He did
in the morning.
Which like I could get at the same time. It's like you do this all day, and he was supposed to be there from like literally all day.
Yeah, he was there all day that day.
So I could get it. Like you're like, oh, 30 minutes. Like let me enjoy my 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like I could see it from his point of view.
In excruciating.
But in the moment, yeah.
Because I don't know what time it started happening. Maybe around like 7 a.m. The back pain came back, and it was even worse. Like it was much worse in the morning, and I don't know what happened because like I wasn't feeling anything else except for this pain in like the lower left of my back. Not even on the right side. It was like specifically just like my low left back. It was so bad, and I don't know what happened. I really don't know what, like, because the epidural was still like there. It was still full. I still had the epidural. Mm-hmm. But like the pain was so excruciating. Now I'm like yelling. Like now I'm like kind of freaking out, and I'm like grabbing onto the bed, and I'm like, you know, moaning and groaning very loudly. That finally they had the anesthesiologist come and give me something else for pain. I don't know what it even was. Do you know?
Nope.
I have no idea. But they gave me something for the pain because I'm literally like shouting like where is the anesthesiologist? Now I'm getting angry and I'm getting aggressive, and I'm like, I need something now. So he comes, he gives me something, and like when I tell you I couldn't even feel my legs. Like when I poked my legs, it felt like I wasn't touching anything, which was a very trippy feeling. So then I kind of was like got a little more sleep, and then finally like the doctor showed up. I could not take the pain anymore. He showed up, he broke my water. And they kept checking me, but he was saying that I was not ready to push because the way that this hospital did it was that they wait till you're like right at the last second so that you're not pushing and pushing for like 2 hours. They wait until the very last second for you to start pushing.
Which is smart. I mean, you either sit there and wait or you push for 3 hours. I think I would rather.
I'm rather waiting. I won't be pushing for that long. But eventually they had to give me that big peanut thing.
Yeah.
Because Why? Because it was like she was like.
Because you weren't moving.
Because I wasn't moving?
Yes, there was no movement. You basically were laying still for almost like 16 hours. They gave you the peanut.
Somebody should have at least offered me that option. I would have been like, hey, maybe, yeah, could you move me? Because my back, it might have taken pressure off. So anyways, they gave me the big peanut, which is, picture a very gigantic peanut in like a stability ball, like a yoga ball, like in a peanut shape. And it is so massive, and they basically like put it between your legs so that you're like if these are your legs, it's in between your legs. When I tell you, I didn't think that thing was gonna work. When I tell you, that hurt so bad. I was astonished at how bad that hurt.
Yeah, your legs were closed the whole time, so I figured as soon as they opened it up, you make some space and she's gonna come barreling down.
Oh my god. Like, I had that peanut in for like 15 seconds and I just felt such pain. Such pain. Like, her barreling down into my pelvis, like so hard, and my pelvis just opening up. So I only had the peanut on for maybe a few minutes, and then I feel like shortly after that, they kept calling the doctor back in, and he was like, no, not yet. And I was like, what the fuck? When am I gonna push? So basically, I started getting ready to push, and in the room, it was supposed to be like the doctor, then there was 2 residents, and then like 2 nurses and Manny, right? But at the same time that I was just in a natural labor, because I wasn't induced or anything, there was an emergency C-section happening, and then a scheduled C-section happening. So the doctors and the nurses and everybody were very in and out. So there was one point where it was just Manny and one of my nurses in there.
I want an honorary doctorate from that hospital. They should call me in as a sub, because for like a solid 10 minutes, it was just me and this nurse delivering a baby.
Mm-hmm. Which she was a great nurse, by the way.
She was a great nurse. She was.
So I'm glad she was there.
She was, but at the same time, I've never delivered a baby before, so.
No. So what happened was, so my doctor came in, he's like, all right, like, you can start pushing. And, you know, they got my legs up and everything, and Manny was holding onto one of my legs. Nurse was holding onto the other one. And then the resident, this is at the very start when I first started. So the resident was like opening me up with her fingers. And holy hell, that hurt so bad. But basically, like, she opened me and she was like, look, there's her head. And I remember you like looked and you were like, oh, yeah, I see her head up
like, you can see her head. Yeah, it's crazy.
So she was just like opening me, like going like this. And I was like, oh my God. And then I started to push, or her head started coming out, and then the resident was like, oh, look, like there's her hair. And I heard like hair, and I was like, oh my God. And Manny was like, oh, I see her hair. She has a lot of hair. All you saw was hair coming out, right?
So, all right, this is going to sound graphic. If you want to skip this little part, it's going to be like 10 seconds, skip it. But, so it was like closed, but like as it closed, you saw hair like sticking out. But that's like all you saw at the one point. And then until you started pushing, like, is when they open it up and you open, so you can like see inside. But there's like a lot of hair. But like when you stop pushing, it closes. And like you can just see hair, like you know, that's kind of trippy.
That's so weird. So I start pushing, and I didn't quite realize, right? Like, you know how they make it seem on TV and movie shows, like you push like 5 times and the baby just comes slipping right on out? Yeah, that's like not what happens. So I'm like pushing and pushing and pushing, and like I felt like she wasn't coming. Well, I can't see what's happening, and they're like, no, you're pushing good, like her head's coming out, and I'm like panicking, like I'm starting to panic a little. So I keep pushing. Now, possible TMI, if you don't want to hear any TMI.
I think we're already past that point. If you're here, you're involved in the TMI.
But I already have hemorrhoids. So, the pushing, and I know a lot of people, I'm saying this because I know a lot of people get hemorrhoids from giving birth.
Yes.
I already had them prior to birth. So, they started flaring up. So now when I'm pushing, I feel them like swelling. And now I'm in even more pain on top of the pushing and the back pain. And I'm like panicking because I'm having a searing pain in my back. I'm panicking because like I just feel like a head that's just stuck, holding me open, just stuck there. And now the hemorrhoids are flaring up on top of it. So I'm like trying to push. I think it went on for like maybe 30 minutes, 20, 30 minutes. And now I'm like, Manny's trying to calm me down. But like with each push, my panic and anxiety increased. So after 30 minutes, I'm now like in a panic attack mode. And I'm hyperventilating. And everybody's trying to calm me down. And I'm like full on like panic attack happening. And now because of the panic attack, so say like her head was out like maybe like this much, right? Because I started panicking, she started going back in.
So her head, she made it up to like eyebrow level. So like she was almost there. Like Alex, every time, so if you don't know this, every time you push, it moves just a smidge. Let's explain the baby's head at this current moment. So that at this moment, like a lot of people think it's like a full-formed skull that comes out.
Yes.
But it honestly looks like a deflated balloon. Like, you know how like you blow a balloon up and then you deflate it and it kind of looked like this. Like literally like crinkled up like this.
Yeah, because babies' skulls are infused.
Yeah, so it's like this. So like this is what you see as you're coming out. So like as it's coming out, you see like more and more and more and more and more.
And it's like flat.
Yeah, it's like
plates,
flat.
Right?
Yeah, it's literally like that balloon. So like as you see it, like so it got up to here. Then we're telling Alex she's doing a great job, whatever, this and that.
But I'm not hearing that. Like I hear, but I'm not. It's not
she's
registering.
not processing it. Yeah. So now we're like eyebrow level, and she starts like hyperventilating. I know, and then like yo, breathe. We're all trying to calm her down. And as you're doing this, like I'm slowly watching the eyebrow get further and further, and we're just getting hair now.
Like she was going back in.
Yes.
But the reason I panicked was because like.
Movies make it seem like it's 3 pushes.
Yeah,
That's really why.
Like I felt trapped, and I don't like. Obviously, like I don't like the feeling of being trapped. Like I felt stuck. So I felt like because you don't keep pushing, right? You wait until you feel the pressure coming down. And there were intervals where it was like push 3 or 4 times. Wait 2 minutes and then push again. So after pushing in those like 2 minutes of waiting.
Yeah, they call it the ring of fire. They said when you're at the ring of fire, don't panic. You panicked at the ring of fire. Call it the ring of fire, where her head is stuck and that said that was the hardest part because her head's gonna be stuck in the opening.
And you're just sitting there with
and you're
her
sitting
head
there, sitting there until you feel the next time for you to push.
Yes, and that was a big part of the reason of why I panicked.
Yes.
It didn't feel burning. It just...
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't do it.
I felt more pain in my back and my butt from the hemorrhoids and the back pain than I did with her. Her just felt like a lot of pressure. Mm. I knew in my head that her head was just sitting there. At that point, it was just you, the nurse, and the resident. And they're like...
The resident that didn't do anything?
No.
Okay.
Not that resident.
There was a little side note. There was a resident there. He was definitely new. You could tell somebody's new in the hospital setting. And you could tell somebody's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, he was...
Alex was pushing. Me and the nurse are there. And me and the nurse are looking at each other. And we're like, yo, are we going to get like some help, baby?
Yeah.
And this doctor, resident, was in the corner just watching us work. And we're like, okay, I guess we're going to keep doing our thing. And that's after we were there alone for 10 minutes. Then he came for another 10 minutes and just watched us. So, like, I don't know, maybe he was the doctor and we were the residents that day? Like,
no,
we got upgraded?
So my doctor was gone and he was barely there. And because he was in the C-section. So, like, they're all rotating between two ORs and me, I believe. Yeah. Right? So, like, it was a lot, like, happening. And that's why at one point it was just Manny and the nurse. And the resident basically like delivered her. My doctor stood there when it came time because it got to the point where I started panicking. And my doctor, like he came in and like the other resident came in and now like everyone's back in the room. So because I started panicking, like I said earlier, and she started going back in, they had to resort to using a suction. Which, since you saw how that worked, you want to explain it? I saw the device, but I didn't see how it worked.
All right, so...
Felt it, though. I felt it.
So, how this device works, on one end, it's like a fuzzy-looking material, and on the other, it's like a saucer. So, it's like
It was like a little.
It's a disc, but one side is fuzzy and one side's like a plastic cover. Then it's attached to a tube, which is attached to like a pump handle, which you literally pump like this. They literally slid it in her. Then they pump it up, and you could see the pressure gauge go up. And then once it hits the top, they wait for her to push, and they said push. So as soon as she pushed, they pulled it out. They pulled it.
I'm so traumatized just hearing about this. I can't.
When I tell you, it went from like, so Alex went back, so it was like here. It went from there to like here. Then they just did it again, pulled it, her head popped right out. Poop!
Her whole body came flying out.
No, her head popped out. Her head popped out. They grabbed her head. They saw she was upside down. They turned her by her shoulders.
Do you know how much? This is when I felt the pain there. This was just searing pain.
So they turned her by her shoulders, facing up, and they grabbed her and they pulled her out.
What did she do? She was like, "You talking about me coming out?"
Yeah, she didn't like it either.
This is where I felt searing. Nothing but the searing pain.
So grabbed her by the shoulder, and they kind of pulled her out, and that's how Riley was born.
She came out after they used the suction.
Two pushes.
She came flying out, and that's when. What happened, Riley? Mommy tore. She just ripped when you came out because she came flying out real fast. I think they partially pulled her too.
They pulled her out. They pulled her out. But I think they pulled her out. Now, I'm not going to lie. I think they pulled her out because you were still hyperventilating.
Well, at that point, I was hyperventilating from the freaking pain. It was not until that suction came into play where it was pain. When they put it in, pain. When they pumped it up, pain.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But at that point, you were already hyperventilating. We can't tell the difference between pain hyperventilating and you having your panic attack, so they helped you.
I was like just shouting, "Get her out!" Like for 5 minutes, I'm just like, "Just get her out! Just get her out!" Like, can you just take her out? And
I think one thing too, which is why they resorted to the suction, is because they didn't want another C-section. Because if it kept going the way it was going, you were gonna go have a C-section.
I feel bad that I already had to have the suction happen. If I ended up having to have a C-section because I panicked, I would have been crushed. It's like, yeah, that's how I came out. Imagine pushing for 30 minutes and getting just half a forehead out, and then going in 2 pushes to her just being flown out, and then
There's
ripped.
two pushes for the head, a twist for the body, and a pull for the rest.
I know you didn't like that either, Mama, did you? So that is why I tore. I had I know.
Did they ever tell you how many stitches you had?
No, but I know it's a level 2 tear, which means it was my skin and my muscle that tore.
But they say that is common for first-time moms.
Yes, but I would I have torn that bad? Maybe I would have just had a level 1 where it was just skin. If I just kept pushing. I don't know. She wasn't a big baby. She was 6 pounds, 14 ounces. She was long. She was 21 inches long. They did stitch me up. And let me just debunk a myth really fast. Okay. Everyone always says, "Oh, when the baby's born and they put her on your chest, you're not going to feel any more pain," and da-da. That's BS. I'm here to tell you that's BS because I felt nothing but pain.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like people that say that haven't given birth in a while. Like, when you experienced something painful a long time ago, you don't really remember. So, I feel like all the people that said that are moms that haven't given birth recently. Because if you talk to a mom that's recently given birth, they tell you a whole different story than people that gave birth 10 years ago. There's
literally a video clip on Manny's phone of me when they put her on my chest and me just being like, "Ow, ow, 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 ow." So basically that myth, not true. Nothing but pain. And then I watched them stitch me up and I felt pain. I could feel it kind of tugging. And I'm genuinely traumatized from this whole birth experience. I really am. And the aftermath, just as sucky, is recovery. But our little girl's here.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So basically, that is my birth story. That's pretty much everything that happened. Oh, and Manny did cut the umbilical cord.
I better cut the umbilical cord. I helped deliver half of her.
Manny practically, you did deliver her.
I know. Where's my MD?
So guys, that's it for this video. Make sure if you are new to subscribe and join the family. If you haven't done so, make sure to follow us on our social medias, which are all linked in the description down below. I'm hurrying because baby girl needs to eat something. So
Yes.
we will catch you guys in the next video.
You want to say bye?
She's like, I want food now.
You want to say bye?
I want food now.
Malex family out. You know, like Avengers Assemble, we're Malex family out.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah.
She liked it. There we go.